Hi, help me welcome Randy today. I so much appreciate him coming. Hi, Randy.
Hello, Christy. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How's your day going?
Awesome. It's been a really good day.
Good. I
Yeah,
love hearing that.
yeah.
Okay, so what is your life struggle?
Oh, where to begin? There have been so many.
You can begin
Um,
at the beginning or what you feel is most important.
Absolutely. Yeah, I guess the struggle really started when I was in high school, as I kept comparing myself to all of my classmates, and I wasn't as smart as some of them, so I felt like I was the dumb one. I wasn't as athletic as some of them, so I felt like I was a total klutz. I always seemed to compare myself with everyone else, and I tended to come up less than. So I think that's where the struggle first started. Also, what I know now but didn't know then, it wasn't talked about back when I was in school. I have severe ADD, and that just wasn't something that was being talked about back then. So all my teachers and my parents were saying, "You're so smart. Why can't you just apply yourself?" And I
Mhm.
was like, "I don't know." So I kept getting this message that I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough. And I finally internalized that. And when I was 16, I found the one thing that finally shut off that voice, and that was pot. And I
Mhm.
started
Right.
smoking marijuana and I started drinking. And all of a sudden, those voices just went away. And, there's no addiction in my family. So, and I heard about alcoholism and all that, but, that's not going to happen to me. And little by little, I started using more. And at 17, I started using cocaine. And that's when I really felt like this is my jam. And what I know now is that I was self-medicating for the ADD with the cocaine, and everyone else is feeling paranoid and out of sorts. And I'm like, oh my God, I feel normal for the first time
That's
in my life.
interesting because actually the medicine that they do give you for ADD is an upper,
It is.
or what
Yeah,
we
it's a
used to call
stimulant.
speed or whatever.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
actually considered a street drug now.
right. It can
So
be. Right.
so that would make perfect sense.
Exactly. But
So
I didn't know that back then.
but also what cocaine has in it makes you feel on top of the world too,
Oh,
which is why
absolutely.
it's so easily addicting.
Exactly.
I mean,
Yeah.
like
And
who wouldn't want to feel good every single day and feel super powered?
exactly. I mean, one of the things I talked about when I do presentations is when I did cocaine, I felt like someone drew an S on my chest and I became Superman.
Super, yep.
Exactly. So it's like, well, if I feel good doing this, I want to do it more.
So right.
But no one talked about the addictive nature of cocaine, especially back in the 70s and 80s. Back then it's like, oh, you can't become addicted to cocaine.
Really?
So I believe them. Yeah.
Huh. That's funny because the years that you're talking about, my youngest brother was, I believe, 13 and
Mhm.
started smoking pot. And I could tell the minute he walked in the door, his personality was so different.
Mhm.
And I kept saying to him, that that's addicting and it's not going to be enough. And what I'm saying that for is not actually medically, but emotionally, mentally,
Mhm.
because he also had some struggles and that's what he was doing.
Mhm.
So anything to take that mental whatever it is away. And he kept saying to me, pot doesn't do that. Pot doesn't do that. Guess what? Up until 5 years ago,
Mhm.
he was all the way into meth
Wow.
for
Oh,
all those years, and he's 52 now.
wow.
Yeah. So
Ooh.
definitely, and it was always to cover up the more crap he did when he was on the drugs,
Yep.
the more he had to cover up when he wasn't on them. So he
Exactly.
would do it again and again. Is
Mhm.
that how you felt?
That's the cycle that people get caught in. You get high and it feels great. but then you do stuff you're not proud of. So you get high to forget what you did, which makes you do other things that you're not proud of. So you get high. And it's like a circle. It's like the hamster on a treadmill. You run, 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 but you're not getting anywhere.
I like that. A hamster.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So continue.
Okay. So then I kept using junior year in high school, senior year in high school, and my junior year is actually, it was in between junior and senior year that everything really started to, I thought, become crystal clear. And I started doing coke at school and before baseball tryouts. I remember I went out for the baseball team and I did some coke before I went to tryouts. And I'm all over the place, of course, because I'm all amped up and I'm hitting the ball and diving for line drives. And coach comes up to me after tryouts and said, "Randy, I can't believe your improvement over last year. Whatever you're doing, keep it up."
Oh gosh.
I was like, okay, coach.
Little did he know.
Yeah. So
Wow.
I went from sitting on the bench in my junior year to starting a third base on the varsity team in my senior year. And all of a sudden I'm losing weight and I'm looking good and I
Were you
have
heavy?
What's that?
Were you heavy?
Earlier on I was, but when
Okay.
I started working out a lot and doing cocaine, I was looking really good.
Yeah.
And, you know, I
Because a
had
lot
the
of
nice
people
California beach body and oh yeah. And the
really.
long curly black hair down to the middle of my back. Oh yeah. I had it all going on.
Well, because usually people that are like really addicted to cocaine are like super skinny and kind of look like death.
Yeah, well, that happened later on.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, this was still high school and kind of dabbling every now and then. It was when I went to college that things really accelerated
Okay. But
when there
before
were
you
no
get to
more.
that, I have a
Yeah,
question for you.
sure.
Were your parents not aware of any of this?
Not aware at all.
And
And
how,
it's, we didn't talk about it back then. It wasn't really something they knew about, something they didn't talk about. So, they knew something was going on, but they would ask me, "What's going on?" I'm like, "I'm fine. I'm doing great. Look at my grades. My grades are getting better. I'm on the baseball team now." And they're like, "Oh, yeah, okay. Well, I guess you are doing okay." Because on the outside, it looked like everything was all right.
so I kind of feel like had you been diagnosed to begin with ADD and medicated for that, probably none of that would have happened.
Probably not. But then again, we probably wouldn't be talking right
Well,
now
then we
either.
wouldn't be right, but I'm
Yeah.
just saying
But
that's
absolutely, if I
like,
would have had that diagnosis and stuck with my studies, my life would have been totally different. I'd probably be a real estate person out in LA, like everyone else in my family.
right.
Yeah,
So I guess like, one of my messages right here real quick to people is that please, if you see signs, and we'll go over the
yes,
signs, but if you see those signs, get it diagnosed quick with your kids or yourself, whatever,
absolutely.
'cause
Yes,
it's a
don't
big
try to hide
deal.
it or make excuses for it. Deal with it head on and say, let's go get it checked out. Hey, prove me wrong.
And you know what? Over 50% of the population has it. So it's
Yeah,
not like you're out there alone. It's not like it's a big deal. What's a big deal is not getting the help. You could
right.
do so much better in your life with the help. So, okay.
Absolutely. And I like that, more and more we're starting to, like when there's a movie or a TV show that has a suicide message in there, you get the suicide hotline line afterwards.
Mhm.
If you know someone who's struggling, call it. We didn't have that before.
No,
So we're learning how to take better care of the people in our society, which I think is great. But back then, we didn't talk about drug use and addiction and eating disorders and self-harm, and we never talked about any of those things. So it's getting better. We still have a long way to go, but I think it's much better than it was back in the 1980s and 90s.
don't you feel like it kind of goes up and down? Like
Sure.
depending on, because actually, well, the time period you're talking about, you're right. That wasn't going on with the parents, but I was 12 years older than my youngest brother, and I
Mhm.
knew what was going on.
Right.
And I continually told my parents, they didn't want to believe it,
Right.
and then
Yeah.
everything was kept, a secret.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Keep it under the rug.
So,
Yeah.
but I brought my kids up differently. So I'm saying, so like my kids, my oldest daughter, she's not a parent, but being a parent, she should know those things. But I'm also seeing her age group of parents, because she's 40, her
Mhm.
age group of parents not disciplining, not paying attention to what their kids are doing. But there for a while, everybody was. So now I feel
Mhm.
like there's an age group there that just aren't doing it.
It could be, more and more, I think parents are educating themselves about these things. Of course, there are exceptions to that.
Sure.
And it's kind of like the stock market. It goes up, it goes
Up and
down, but
down.
eventually it keeps going up.
Okay. Well,
So
that's what
it's
I was
one of those
getting
kind
at,
of things.
kind of going up and down when I see it, but okay.
Right.
So you're into college and it got worse.
Into college, oh, did it get worse? I was having fun, but I wasn't remembering a lot of it, and my grades were suffering. I was on academic probation after my first semester.
Wow.
I wasn't
So
going
did
to
you have
class.
scholarship?
No,
Okay.
no, we were
Okay.
just paying the tuition.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it just got worse from there. And, I'm also a drummer. I've played in garage bands and different bands all through there, all through the years. And after my freshman year, I thought, you know what, college isn't for me. I'm going to go join a rock band.
Okay.
Of course. So I found a band and
Hey,
joined the
rock band, you
band.
can do drugs, right?
Exactly. Although even the guys in the band after a while were like, Randy, you got to stop, man. You got to cool it down. I'm like, what are you talking about? You guys are partying too. They're like, not like you do. And actually the downfall of the band, they got to a point, we just recorded our first album, and we were talking about going on tour with a big name band, and good things were happening. And they basically said, look, if you want to stay in this band, you either need to quit the drugs or quit the band.
What
Make
did
a
you do?
choice. And, I believe that we are a product of the choices we make. And I
Mhm.
said, well, screw you, I'll go find another band. And I quit the band.
Oh, boy.
And that's
Okay.
when the addiction really just started to spiral out of control.
Okay. Well, I want to hear that.
Okay. Those were some scary years. Went
People
back and
need to
lived at
hear how
home.
scary, though.
Huh?
People need to hear how scary.
I was completely losing control. I moved back into mom and dad's house because
Okay.
I didn't have a job. I wasn't in school. And they said, if you're going to live here, you have to do something. So I went to a
So they
community
knew then.
college.
So by
Huh?
now they knew about your addictions.
No,
Not when they,
they said, what happened with the band? I'm like, oh, it just didn't work out. I was very good at lying to them, and they just bought the lies.
okay. So still, even though this many years has gone by, they're not. Okay. Go ahead.
They don't want to, I don't know. And if I ask them today, did you not know, or did you not want to know? I don't think they would know the answer to that.
Yeah.
They were very into just, show on the outside that everything's okay. That's
That's
that
that
whole persona
generation.
thing. Yeah. So I went to a community college,
Okay.
and I got a great job as a ticket scalper. So me and my buddy Todd would go to the box office, and we buy 20 tickets for $20, and then we sell them for $50.
Okay.
And we made a bunch of money. One summer, we made $25,000 one summer.
Wow.
And guess how
Between the
much
two
money
of
I
you
had
or
at the end of
each?
what's that?
Between the two of you?
Between the two of us,
Okay.
$25,000.
Okay.
And at the end of the summer, guess how much money I had left?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Oh my God.
Nothing to show for it. No.
Because of cocaine.
A lot of cocaine, a lot of alcohol, a lot of
So you were
marijuana.
mixing them.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah,
Huh.
yeah, yeah. Me and my friend Stuart had a contest one night to see who could do the most variety of drugs
Oh
in
my
one night.
gosh.
Yeah, I
You are
won. I
so
did
lucky to be
9. The other did
alive.
7. What?
You're so lucky to be alive.
I know. I have no idea how. When I was 21, I overdosed on cocaine and I had a heart attack.
No.
Yeah. And came out of it, and I slept for like a day and a half, and I came out and I was in horrible pain, like I had been hit by a truck. And I gave up cocaine for like 2 weeks after that. I said, I'm not doing it anymore. I'll still smoke weed and drink, but I gave it up for a little while. So yeah, I mean, it was horrible what I was doing to myself. And it is a total miracle that I'm alive today. I mean, it's against all odds.
Oh, it has to be. So, well, obviously you had purpose. Someone
I
had a
did.
purpose for you.
Oh, Absolutely. I mean, I know that now, back then, but after the heart attack, I realized, you know what? I got to get out of LA. This city is killing me. You know, when I looked at all the different factors, I narrowed it down to it's because of LA. It wasn't because of the drug use. No, 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 no. It's LA's fault. If I get out of LA, everything will be all right. So I enrolled at San Diego State University and went down to San Diego. And since I was in college still, my parents helped me out with expenses. And I got a job delivering pizza, which is so much fun. And I kept doing drugs, and I was on academic probation at San Diego State, and they actually ended up expelling me from college.
Oh my gosh.
So I petitioned to get back in, and I totally lied on the petition. You know, my dog died, my grandmother was sick, I had to go to LA a lot. I'm really sorry. Please give me another chance. And they did. And
Wow.
they said, okay, get a 2.0 or better next semester, or you're done. You're on probation. And I did not get over a 2.0, so they expelled me again. So I have been expelled from college twice. Right around that time I got expelled the second time, I got fired from my pizza delivery job.
Was that for not
And
showing up or what?
not showing up, or what I would do is I would call my dealer and I'd say, hey man, call and order a pizza. He said, I don't want pizza. I said, no, I'll pay for it. Just call and order the pizza so I can go over because I want to get some stuff.
So what they do, get suspicious of going to the same place or?
Exactly. And it's like, what happened? I said, you've been gone for an hour. I'm like, I got lost. What? You went to that same place last night. Yeah. So I got fired.
The lies we tell.
Oh, and we think we're getting away with stuff.
Uh-huh.
No, people just look at us like making a sound to a new sound to a puppy. They just cock their head and go, what? Yeah. So that was in May of 1984 when I got fired from the job, expelled from college. And I thought, you know what? I am a total waste of space on this planet. I'm done.
Okay, so let me ask you this. During all this time that you were doing all these drugs, were you still fighting low self-esteem? Were you still fighting AD?
I had no self-esteem.
You had no.
I had no idea who I was. I had no idea what made me happy. I had no idea. You know, I look in the mirror, it's like, who are you? I had no idea. The only time I felt alive was when I was high. That was the only time, or when I was having sex with a woman. Those were the only things where I felt like someone wanted me and I had purpose. And that was it. Other than that, I was totally lost. I didn't even like brushing my teeth in the morning because I might make eye contact with myself. And I hated that person that was looking back at me.
So I do want to go back to, was there any kind of childhood traumas or anything like that? Or did you ever feel like your parents didn't give a crap or no? So there was nothing like that?
No, nothing really traumatic. You know, there was no childhood abuse. There was no, mom and dad were awesome parents. I mean, they did a great job, but they were raising us from that perspective of the 50s and the 60s, the Leave It to Beaver kind of thing, where you make everything look great on the outside, even though on the inside, it's like, I don't know what to do.
Well, some people I've heard from in that time frame, and it's not that they're blaming their parents, but because that's how it was. Like dad went to work and he worked so many hours. By the time he got home, everybody ate dinner together. Then dad got in the recliner, he turned on the TV, and then he fell asleep. Mom cleaned up the kitchen. The kids all went upstairs, did whatever. Nobody was really interacting a whole lot. And there's some people that were actually traumatized by that,
Sure.
saying that they weren't getting the attention that they probably needed as a child. Like I remember one guy saying that he, his dad didn't even like take the time to play catch with him or something. And that traumatized him. But
Sure.
you don't feel like any of that happened?
No, we went on a lot of vacations. We like to go travel together. And when I traveled even into my teens. I really liked being with them and we would do that. But of course, I never heard my dad say, I'm proud of you.
Okay.
That never happened because he
Okay.
always looked at, are you getting good grades? How did you do in baseball? And that helped to kind of reinforce the not good enough stuff.
I was going to say,
But
did they have high expectations?
oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. They wanted me, you're so smart. Everybody tells me how smart you are. Why aren't you getting good grades? I'm like, I don't know. And I put it mostly on that I was undiagnosed ADD more than my parents did a horrible job. I don't really go to
Which,
that place with it.
yeah,
Yeah, but
which,
I could see how
and we
some
can't
people
blame
would.
them for that because they didn't
No,
even know ADD. I mean,
exactly.
that wasn't a diagnosed disorder then. So,
Exactly.
okay. Okay. So go
No.
ahead. I was just
Yeah,
curious about that.
of course there were little, I think every kid has little T traumas somewhere. Some have big T trauma, but I think most kids grow up with some type of small T trauma. I mean, even my daughter, I think I've done a really good job of raising her, but I'm sure there are things that she remembers. And it's like, oh my God, I can't believe dad said that or did that, or mom and dad
Sure.
did, who knows? I don't know.
Sure.
And I think it's different for everybody. I definitely do not want to trivialize another person's experience, saying that it was traumatic for them, hearing that, wow, he's saying the same thing that I went
Right.
through, but
Right.
no way. I mean, we all have our own unique experiences with
Right.
all of this.
And I can say, like, I had the same upbringing that you did and was in that same era. And I don't, I never looked at, we went on family vacations
Hmm.
twice a year, I think, and we had a blast. And
Yeah.
we did have, all of our holidays, that were big family stuff, whatever. Um,
Hmm.
I didn't know any different or feel any different that they weren't doing outside stuff. I mean, both my parents worked,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, it was kind
Hmm.
of a family thing to put everything together to eat and, whatever. So I don't feel traumatized I mean, I felt like that was normal.
Yeah. Yeah. And even looking back, I've done a lot of work since. And my conclusion is, I never heard I'm proud of you. And, there were things they could definitely do different, but they did the best they could with the tools they had at the time.
I'm happy to
And
hear.
there's no blame, there's no finger pointing, you did this to me. And I don't feel that way at all.
And I'm happy to hear that because
Yeah.
I think being a parent is hard enough and we
Yeah.
do the best we can. And as you know, we don't come with a handbook,
Nope.
no, and every
Nope.
kid is different and whatever. We do the best we can, most of us.
Exactly.
So,
And one of the things that I was really, really impactful with my daughter from the moment she could understand English, I would tell her, and I told her this over and over and over and over. I said, I will always love who you are, even though I might not like what you do.
which that's a good saying.
And I
And yeah,
make that separation. And as she got older, and when she would do something like, oh my God, what were you thinking? Why did you do that? I'm really angry with you for doing that. I still love you, but I wanted to say, what were you thinking? I didn't talk to her. I didn't say that to her, but
sure.
pretty much and she would start to feel really bad about it. And I would help her to own what she was feeling and what she was going through. But, even into her teens, I still say it to her sometimes when things are going on. I'm like, just know, I always love who you are. I know, even though you don't like what I do. Yeah. Right? Yeah, that's the teenager's response.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So here we are. We flatlined. Did you flatline? Or no, you didn't flatline with the heart attack.
No,
You had a
no,
heart.
I
I shouldn't
came
say just
to.
a heart attack because that's a big deal,
Yeah.
but
Well, I mean, it was a minor heart attack, but it was a heart attack.
it was
So
caused by the cocaine, wasn't it?
cocaine. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was way too much cocaine in a short period of time. Yeah, I did about 3.5 grams in an hour and a half.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Can't
And I
imagine.
wasn't feeling really good. And all of a sudden my arm went numb and it felt like someone took an ice pick and went bam into my heart and I passed out.
It makes me wonder why I know a lot of people that happens to, that's a story they tell. And I'm like, why isn't that enough?
Yeah,
Like,
no,
why
it
isn't that
was,
scary enough
yeah,
to stop? So tell
it
me why.
was. But in my mind, it's like, I just won't do that much anymore. I'll just do a little bit so that it's not that bad again. It was because I did so much. If I don't do that much, then I'll be okay.
Okay.
It's that addict thinking, anything to justify the use. And it worked until May 16th, 1984.
So this is when you hit rock bottom.
that was the day.
Okay, let's
And
hear
I
about
got
that.
a bottle of 151 rum, which was my favorite drink. And I drank the whole bottle, the whole pint. And I had some weed and I smoked that. And then I had a quarter gram of cocaine and I did it all in one line. And I'm sitting there, it's like, and I didn't even get high. I wasn't even drunk or high after doing all that. I'm like, now I
Well,
can't
you got,
do that
first of all, you
anymore.
got two different types of drug. You got a downer and an upper that you're mixing. So wouldn't that kind of even it out?
No, it has a synergistic effect where they kind of compound each other. It doesn't balance
Wow.
it out. Yeah. So, it's like when you give coffee to a drunk, it doesn't make them not drunk. Now you have a wide awake drunk. So no, it does not cancel each other
Wow,
out.
I never even thought of that.
Yeah, no, not a good idea to give or put them in a shower. Oh, bad idea. Yeah, time is the only thing that cures someone who's overly drunk or high. So I'm sitting there, it's like, you know what? I'm done. And I thought, how am I going to do this? And I thought, okay, I'm going to put a note on my door, my
But wait a
bedroom
minute,
door
what
that says,
actually happened? Just mixing all that stuff and what happened? You felt like crap or,
I didn't even get high. Nothing happened.
oh, nothing happened.
Right. And that's why I'm like, oh, great. I can't even do that anymore. I
Okay.
get kicked out of school. I get fired from my job delivering pizza. Now I can't even get high. Shit,
Oh, gosh.
what's the
Okay.
point?
I
Yeah,
got
so
it.
that's why it's like, okay, I'm going to put a note on my bedroom door. Don't come in, just call 911. And I went over to my closet and I
Oh
got
my
out a dive
gosh.
knife that my parents gave me as a gift. And I knew if you're serious, you cut down and not across. And then I thought, well, can you cut one and then switch hands and cut the other? I don't know. And I don't want blood all over. I'll go sit in the bathtub so that I don't make a mess for anyone to have to clean up. And I couldn't decide which wrist to start with first. And I thought, well, maybe I'll just slice open my throat and one good slice right here and I'm done.
Ah,
So I looked up into the bathroom mirror to see where to start. And I made eye contact. And I said, what the frick are
you
you
can
doing?
say it.
How did you get here? What is going on? And all of a sudden, I got scared.
My gosh, I'm so thankful for that.
Oh, me too now. And it was like, oh my God, I have a drug problem. Oh my God, and all of a sudden everything flashed. It's like, it's the drugs that caused everything. And I thought, oh shit, I need help. And it took me like 45 minutes to get the courage together to call a hotline that I remember I had seen on a billboard. I was with my buddy Todd, the ticket scalping guy, my friend
Okay.
my
Yeah.
best
Yeah.
friend.
For that
We
summer.
were walking across the street. There was a billboard that said, drug problem? If so, call 1-800-BE-SOBER. And it took
Really?
me 45 minutes. And I finally dialed every number and the phone rang and this woman answered and said, Be Sober Hotline. I said, yeah, hi. I think I have a drug problem. And she said, well, what are you using? I said, cocaine and alcohol and pot. And she's like, okay, well, tell me about it. Let's talk about it. Because I used to do that too. And I've been sober now for 1.5 years. And I was like, what? 1.5 years? And I talked to her for about, an hour and a half. I talked to her.
Mhm.
And I really believe that she saved my life because she gave me hope. And
So
I hung
you
up and I went to sleep.
really? And then
Yeah.
what?
And then the next day I called my mom and I said, Mom, can you come down to San Diego? I have something I want to tell you. And she came down and I said, Mom, well, I'm not like a murderer or a rapist or anything like that, but I'm a drug addict. And she said, what's this murder and rapist bullshit? What are you going to do about your problem? I was like, wow, well, I don't know. They were talking about these meetings. I talked to this person on a hotline. So I'm going to go check those out and, do something like that. She's like, all right, well, you got to do something. And I actually went to a treatment center and I went for an assessment and I told him everything that was going on. And he did the most ethical, amazing thing. I mean, all of these beautifully magical things kept happening in my life. And one of them was Rob Dean at Mesa Vista Hospital. I don't think he's there anymore. He might be. And he said,
This was in San Diego.
in San Diego,
Mhm.
yeah. He said, well, I've done my assessment. You sound really motivated to get sober. I said, yeah, I am. He said, I don't think you need to come in here right now. Let me give you the name of a therapist. And if
Okay.
you relapse, come back in and we'll check you in. I'm like, all right.
Huh.
And he gave me the number of Charlie Nelson, Dr. Charlie Nelson down in San Diego. And I called him and I said, yeah, Rob Dean gave me your number. He goes, huh, Rob Dean's never given me a referral before. I'm like, well, he got me.
Huh.
And I went and saw Charlie, and Charlie hooked me in with recovery. And I started going to 12-step meetings, and I saw Charlie once a week. And I am one of those 5% that I've never relapsed since I made that decision to quit.
So how many years has that been?
We're in May, it'll be 38 years.
That's amazing. You know,
It's
actually, this whole
amazing.
story is amazing. It's like somebody really was watching over you this entire time.
Totally. But it's not just me, it's everybody. We all have that guardian angel that's just waiting for its opportunity
I
to tap
believe
us on
that.
the shoulder and say, hey, are you ready for something different? I have this whole magical world ready for you if you're just willing to let go of this other stuff.
See, the key though is when you start listening to that angel on your shoulder or whatever
Yeah.
you want to call it, because everybody's not where you're at. They don't make it. They don't, I mean, like, you sound amazing. And I feel, even though you went through a lot, I feel like one of the luckier ones that you didn't even get that knife in there. You looked at yourself and said, what the hell?
Yeah, exactly.
And you were ready. And
Mhm.
it sounds like you were ready for good.
Absolutely. But there are plenty of people who say, oh my God, what am I doing? And then they just,
They continue to
fuck
do.
it, and boom, they're done.
So
But
that's
it's
what I'm
it's
saying.
that moment of clarity where it's like, I need to do something different. And some people hear it and others don't, but we all have the opportunity. For the people who are struggling out there and they're like, I don't know what to do. My opinion is, yes, you do. Because what you're doing isn't working. So let's do something else. And even the fact that they're listening to your show says, I want something different. I
Right.
want to find a way out. I want to
Right.
find something different. But we get so into, I remember this picture of a cat, that hang in there,
Uh-huh.
baby. Remember
Uh-huh.
that? The cat and the
Yeah.
claw marks? I love the saying, I never let go of anything that didn't have claw marks in it.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So it's like we struggle. Pain doesn't come from change. Pain comes from the resistance to change.
So congratulations, first of all, 38
Thank you.
years is amazing.
Yeah.
So you wrote a book.
Mm-hmm.
Does that have anything to do with all this?
Oh, absolutely. Because part of my recovery, and I believe that there's a huge difference between just being sober and being in recovery.
Okay.
And sober is just a behavior. You're not drinking and using anymore, but recovery is about taking a look at patterns and what did I do and what can I do different, and all in the mind and the spirit and the emotions and getting in touch with feelings. I was so afraid of my feelings when I got sober.
Oh, I
And
bet.
because I was
You had to
afraid.
face them.
Yes. And I was afraid of my sadness. I was afraid of my fear. But what I've learned is that the more I get in touch with my feelings and learn that I do have them and it's okay to have them, the less scarier they become. And the more I begin to be friends with them.
Mhm.
I'll watch a movie. My daughter will come by. She's like, Dad, are you crying again? I'm like, of course I'm crying.
And what the heck's wrong with that?
Nothing. And it bugs me when people start crying and they're like, I'm sorry, I'm crying. It's like, why do you apologize
I know,
for crying?
right?
We don't apologize for laughing. Why do
I
we
know.
apologize for crying? And I can't wait for the time in our society where it's okay to see someone cry and not feel like you
For
need to
every
fix it.
gender.
Yeah. Oh,
It's
absolutely.
acceptable for women to cry to a certain degree until they're
Yes.
like, okay, that's enough. You've cried enough. But
Exactly.
it's, for some reason, people teach their boys that
Yes.
that's not a boy thing.
Big
And
boys don't cry.
I'm not that mom. My son
Yep.
cries and I acknowledge it and let him, and even go through it with him.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Which is the
I
best thing that
encourage
you can
it.
do.
And I
Yeah.
don't know if people realize this or not. In crying, we have tear ducts in here, and those open up when we cry, and that releases endorphins, which actually are to help us feel better.
Yep. Yep.
So cry. It's
Cry,
okay.
let yourself have your feelings. They're a part of you. Yeah. So as I was beginning my journey into recovery, I was doing a lot of journaling, and I was still seeing, I saw Charlie for the first 2 years of my sobriety. And then we took time, and now Charlie and I are really good friends.
Oh, that's
And it's
cool.
so cool. Yeah. Next week, he's celebrating 40 years. So I'm going to virtually be at his meeting where he's taking his 40-year cake. So
So
I'm just,
what is his title? Like, he's not a doctor, right? Is he a
he's
counselor,
a psychologist.
psychologist?
Yeah.
And does he just specialize in addiction, or is it
I think,
anything?
you know what? I'm not sure exactly what he does now. We don't talk about work a lot, so
Okay.
I'm not sure. Um, but yeah, he's been a very important part of my life. And as
Cool.
I was growing in my recovery and started to work professionally, I got back into school. I got my bachelor's degree. I went on to get a master's degree.
Oh,
You know, me, the
congratulations.
little druggie and drunk who can't even deliver a pizza, and now I have a master's degree.
That's amazing. What'd
I
you get
know.
that in?
Counseling.
Counseling.
Because
Look
I
at
wanted to be a
you.
counselor like Charlie and help people.
Look at you.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about this book.
Oh, my book. So again, well, let me set it up a little bit, because
Okay.
what I realized as I was going through my process is that I had a lack of self-esteem.
Okay.
And I started to look at how society viewed self-esteem.
Okay.
And, Madison Avenue spends billions of dollars every year making sure that if you buy the right shampoo or drive the certain kind of car, you're going to have this amazing life. You're going to be beautiful. You're going to have everything. You're going to be happy.
Heck yes.
But no, that's the lie. The lie is
The lie
that
we're told. Yeah.
who you are is dependent on these outside things. I know millionaires in Beverly Hills who are completely miserable. And I knew people
Absolutely.
that have hardly anything, but are really happy with the quality of their lives. So it's not about the money. It's not about the cars. So I started to realize that there's a difference between ego and self-esteem, and they're actually not connected. They're actually on opposite ends of a continuum. And all of us are somewhere on that continuum between pure ego and pure self-esteem. And no one is one or the other. We're all somewhere on that continuum. And I started to realize, what am I doing to move up that continuum towards a higher sense of self-esteem? And I started journaling about it. And it actually now has become my book, which is all about how to raise self-esteem. And I call it How to Become Your Own Best Friend.
I love that.
And to stop treating ourselves like our own worst enemy, and to start treating ourselves like our own best friend. And I call the book The Ego Cleanse. We have this ego, let's clean it of all the crap so that it's okay to have some ego. I mean, we would not be doing all this stuff, speaking and on social media and podcasts and all these things, if we didn't have some ego there too. But we respect and honor our ego without letting it consume us and be the primary thing of what we do, because we do this because we want to make a difference in the lives of others. We want to help make other people's journeys easier, not have to struggle. I don't want people to have to struggle the way that I struggle. That's why I do this. So I work on my self-esteem, and it's based on helping other people raise theirs. But there will always be some ego there, of course.
Yeah. Well,
But I don't shame it anymore.
so I just got done, I mean, here I am on life struggles, and oh my gosh, I have them every day. Okay.
Yeah.
We're never going to stop having some kind of struggle.
Right.
And it can just be
That's life.
That it is life. But I took a 5-week self-love trip,
Good for you.
and all by myself, and no time frame, not planning where I was going to go. It was on a day-to-day thing, but I really needed to dive inside myself
Yeah.
and do some healing.
Mhm.
I had healing that I wasn't even aware of until I started this trip. And so I feel like it's really important to dive into yourself. And was it hard? Absolutely. There was a lot of things that I had to accept that I didn't know was even there.
Yep.
And I don't do drugs,
Hmm.
don't do alcohol. I wasn't doing anything to hide it that I know of. I cry when I
Hmm.
need to cry, you
Yep.
know, but it was there somewhere, because when I started really diving into my heart, there were things there that I needed to fix.
Yeah. And good for you for doing it. Too many people overwork or they find other ways to hide
And
it.
that's what I was doing. That's
Yeah.
what I was doing. And I really feel like everybody, everybody should, I mean, they don't do 6 weeks, that, I just happen to have that, but take some kind of small trip, whatever, where you're completely by yourself and you really dive into your heart, your soul, your thoughts.
Yeah. And
And
that's really important. I like taking time when I'm in the car. I turn the music off and I'm just there with myself. And just having those brief little 15 minutes to an hour on my own, those little things really make a difference.
yeah, so see, people can do that. They can just take a long drive.
Hmm. Yeah.
I mean, mine was in the car too. That's because I didn't know
Mhm.
where I was going to go. So I thought, well, I'm not going to get a plane ticket to go
Yeah.
somewhere, and then I'm gonna have to rent a car. And so I just like packed my car with 6 suitcases and said, I don't know where I'm going to go first. Don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to be driving. And so I had a lot of thinking in the driving too.
Oh, yeah. But what a great thing that you were able to do for yourself. That's
It,
awesome.
it, it was, and I think I was blessed given that. But
Yeah.
at any rate, you can do what he just said. You can take,
Yeah.
just take a long drive. I know a lot of people that
Yeah.
just take a drive to clear their head,
Yeah.
whatever. Take a long walk, run. I don't care, but do
Whatever it
something.
is.
Yep.
And in fact, it's funny you say that because I'm in the process of putting together an event right now
Yeah.
that I'm calling Esteem Fest.
Oh, I like
So it's
that.
going to be a celebration of self, and it's going to be a weekend long. It's going to be October 14th through 16th here in Orlando. And some of my friends are amazing speakers. So we're going to have speakers and meditation and yoga and all kinds of ways that people can learn how to take care of themselves. And we're going to do some
Okay, well,
small
I'm a
group
yoga
discussion.
instructor. Uh,
Oh, you want to come to Esteem Fest?
well, I was just going to tell you, October is when I get to come to Florida anyway. So
Oh,
I
we might
make
have to
make sure
work
that
that
we write
out.
down those dates and the name of it
Yeah.
and where it's going to be.
Yeah. Well, here, let me tell you the best part about Esteem Fest. This
Okay.
is what I'm most excited about when I tell people this. They're like, oh my God.
Okay.
So the speakers are going to happen Friday and Saturday, all day
Mhm.
Saturday. And then on Sunday, we're all going to go do an inner child play date at the Magic Kingdom at Disney.
Oh, fun.
We're going to go play. Yeah.
Yay.
I
That's a good
know.
thing.
I'm so excited. And the hotel that I found is right near Disney,
Uh-huh.
and they have bus transportation over there. So we're going to do all of our cool stuff for a
Will
couple
they
of
will they
days.
have discounts for the event?
I hope so. I'm working on that. It depends how many people we can get.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm really hoping that we're going to be able to work out some kind of
Have
discount.
you have you already like figured out a thing for people to go and register?
If
Or you
right
know still?
now we're building the website, but if they
Okay.
go to esteemfest.com, they can get on the sign up list so that when we do release information, they'll be the first ones to
I need to write that
get
down.
notified.
Esteem Fest.
Esteemfest.com, ESTEEMFEST.com. And I think I'm going to do something. Oh, this is the first time I'm talking about it. I think I'm going to do
I
this.
love it.
I'm going to, like, for the first 50 people who sign up, if you register, you can bring a friend at half price.
Okay, but you don't, do you
So I
guys
want
have a
to do
price
something.
yet?
I'm thinking, I don't have all the numbers yet. I want to keep it as affordable as possible. I'm also hoping to have scholarship money available for people who can't afford it. And I'm hoping to get some sponsors to come in who can help with some of that as well. If I can get a $25,000 sponsor, then, we can really discount the tickets to the park and I'd have a lot of scholarship money. I'm hoping we can get away with like $449 as a pre-registrant. And at a certain point, it'll go up to $499. So it'll be about $450, $500 in order to do that. And the
For the
hotel
event, for the
for the
3-day
event.
event. And
Yeah.
what are you hoping that'll cover?
Everything. Except for the Disney. I'm hoping it'll be the Disney ticket, but I don't know if I can do that yet. I have to see.
But not the hotel.
No,
You're
not the
talking
hotel.
about
Yeah,
the speakers and all that.
right. The
Okay.
speakers, the food. I'm gonna have lunch and breakfast and snacks and water, coffee, and tea all day. So that's what it's gonna cover.
Okay. Well, if you need any help, I'm really good at doing the reservation thing and blocking rooms and all that kind of stuff. So,
Oh, actually, I found an awesome meeting planner, and I
did you?
knew she was the right meeting planner
Well,
because
good.
we had a time set to talk, and she wrote to me and said, I have a family emergency I need to take care of. I'm sorry, we'll have to talk later. And when I talked to her later, she said, oh, it was horrible, but it's over now. And I did some good meditation in order to kind of center myself again. I was like, okay, now I have a meeting planner who meditates. Awesome. I love it. So it's so cool how all these pieces keep falling into
Yeah,
place
I love
to
it.
make this event happen. I just am so grateful that we can do this. And we're doing it at, it's called the B Resort in Orlando. And we're going to get to do things like make banners that say B, the letter B, be grateful, be aware, be connected. So we're going to do all kinds of things around the
With the
B.
B.
Yeah.
Is the B resort though, is that just a B or is that BEE?
No, B.
The
Just B.
resort is just B
Just the
resort.
letter B. Yeah. And I think we have rooms, I think they're $149 a night. So I wanted that to be pretty inexpensive too.
Are those doubles?
They can be doubles, they can be kings.
Either
whatever
one?
people want.
Nice.
Either way. This is the
Good.
first time I'm really talking about it in this
I'm
kind of a
excited
forum. I'm
for
really,
you.
I'm so excited.
Well, you can count on me going.
Awesome.
I need to put those dates down though. October
14 to 16. October 16th is going to be our play date at Disney.
Okay. And why don't you tell everybody like kind of how you're connected to Disney?
Oh, it happened when I was probably 5 years sober. No, probably maybe 5 years. Charlie kept saying, you need to learn how to have fun sober. I'm like, I'm having fun. He's like, no, you need to learn it. So I started with SeaWorld, and I would go to SeaWorld, and that was a lot of fun. And then a friend said, when was the last time you were at Disneyland? I'm like, I haven't been there since I was a kid. And I went to Disneyland, and I walked down Main Street and saw that castle, and little 7-year-old Randy inside of me just kind of went whoosh. Oh my God, this is the most amazing thing. And ever since then, I have been a huge Disney fan. And I love the personalities of the characters and the music and everything, and the movies and everything that goes along with it. And Peter Pan is my guy.
Oh,
Yeah, I love Peter Pan, that endless, the everlasting child. And, I've moved to a lot of places. My counseling practice turned into working on my counseling.
Okay.
When I first got sober, I went into university administration. So I worked on 4 different college campuses running drug and alcohol education programs for the students. And the last campus I was in a town in between Atlanta and Orlando. So it was a small little town. And I used to go to Orlando all the time, and I go to Disney. And it was so much fun, and I loved it. And my life has taken me to all these different places. And 4 years ago with my family, it's like, you know what, why don't we move to Orlando? So we did. And it was the best move we ever made. And I got an annual pass, and I would go all the time. And then my wife said, why don't you go get a part-time job there? So I did. And now I'm a cast member. I'm a part-time cast member at Disney. Life is so magical. And I'm just so grateful. Every day I start my day on my knees saying, thank you for the gift of a new day.
That's amazing.
And it's just, I stay out of my own way now. And I stay out of my own head.
That's amazing. I love that.
Yeah.
So I lived in Fort Lauderdale for quite a while. And my daughter and I, she, of course, when she was old enough, so probably 5, we went to Disney. And I waited that long because I heard of so many people that took their kids so young and they didn't remember it. And I mean, you can go over and over again,
Yeah, exactly.
but you know, if you live on the other side of the United States or in the middle or whatever, I mean, it can get pretty costly to go that much. But we lived, you know, in Fort Lauderdale then. So I waited till she was 5. But you know what ended up happening was about every 3 weekends, we would drive up to Orlando and
Yeah.
really do both SeaWorld and Disney, because SeaWorld was magical to us too.
Mhm.
But I want to tell you, to this day, It's a Small World is one of my favorite things to go through.
Oh,
It doesn't
yes.
matter how old I am. I
Nope.
I
Hmm.
love going through there and I sing with them and
Yep.
I'm
Well, it's
very
one of the
happy.
iconic rides. And how many times, here's why. How many times have you been in a situation where something really magical happens? You're like, wow, it's a small world, right?
True.
That's where the magic happens in our life. So that ride, and that song taps into that. So every time,
Mhm.
I just said it with a guest. There was a guest that came up to me and I was talking to them. They're from California. Oh, what part? Palos Verdes. Oh, I used to live in Palos Verdes. I went to Chadwick. Oh,
It's a
my kids
small
go to
world.
Chadwick. So of all the people that I could be talking to, I talk to these kids who go to the same high school that I went to when I was a kid. It's a small
Small
world
world.
after all.
Yep.
So yeah, there's so much magic there.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
Amazing. Okay. Well, do you feel like we're at the end of our journey here?
we can be. That's up to you. You
It's
you
up to
lead the
you.
dance.
Well, I love to dance, but it really is up to you. If you feel like there's something more, anything more important that people need to know, or any more information you can give them to help them out with some of this stuff.
Yeah, one of the things I did, I have a workshop, and this is when I was speaking full time. This was like one of the main things that I was doing. And
Mhm.
during COVID, I wanted to give something back. So I just put my workshop online on my
Okay.
website, and it's free. So
Okay.
feel free to go and watch the workshop. It gives all the tools that people need to build their own toolbox to raise their self-esteem and
And
to
that's
feel better about who they
Randy
are.
at randyspeaks.com, right?
Well, the website is randyspeaks.com.
Randyspeaks.com. Yeah.
Yes. So that's the website. And if people go there, they'll be able to see the work. It's under workshops, and just go to the workshop. And you do put in your email address, but I promise you, I do not sell that to anybody. I just use it to let people know about Esteem Fest and different things that I'm doing.
Okay.
But yeah, you can watch the workshop for free. I mean, I've been giving so many blessings in my life that I just want to give back. And the
And that's
main
what we're
thing that
here
I
for.
tell people, it teaches people how to get out of their own way and to become their own best friend instead of treating themselves like their own worst enemy. To treat yourself, give yourself grace.
That's something we all need to do.
Yep.
Okay. So do you have a social media
Oh yeah.
that you would like, people can reach out to you if they need to?
Sure. I mean, it's all on my website if people don't write it down now, but I have Instagram. I think I'm there as Randy Haveson. So you can find me there. On Facebook, I have a page or a group. I get groups and pages mixed up. It's Randy Speaks is the
On
group
Facebook too.
on Facebook. Yeah. But everything is on my website. So people
So
can
it's
just click.
probably easier to go to your website if
Yeah.
they want to get your information, but I'll go ahead and put it in the bio here too.
Oh,
So,
cool. Thank you.
okay.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, listen, I really appreciate your amazing story.
Thank you.
And
Yeah,
I'm sure that it's going to help a lot of people. That's what
I
we're
hope
here
so.
for, is trying to let people know that they're not alone. I think that's the
Yes.
biggest
Yes.
message out there. People think they're like in this alone, and they don't need to be.
Mhm.
There,
Right.
there are things out there. And I did want to ask you,
Sure.
did you work the 12-step program?
Oh yeah,
Do you
absolutely.
continue to work that, or are you done working that?
Um, I still practice the principles of the program,
Okay.
but I believe what Bill W. said when he created AA. He said this was not meant to be something that people do the rest of their lives. The goal of AA is to get people out into the community to be productive, successful members of society. So that's what I've done. In my neighborhood, I think there's only one neighbor who knows that I'm in recovery. Nobody else, it never comes up. Hey, come over for a glass of wine. It's like, no, I'm not drinking tonight. You have some water? So it just doesn't come up. It's not something that I put out there. It's not something that's discussed. Whereas at the beginning, the cashier at the grocery store, I am in recovery. But I don't do that anymore. It's a part of me. My recovery is so solid and it's so sacred for me. And the principles of the 12-step programs are there, but no, I don't.
Do you still
I go to
celebrate
maybe
it?
one, huh?
Do you still celebrate it?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yeah, that's a big deal to me. And like this summer, we're going to London for a family
Oh,
vacation, and my
cool.
daughter wants to visit some colleges out there. But I'm looking forward to going to a meeting when I go to London. I like going when I'm in different places. When I'm on a cruise ship, when I go visit different places, I like going to meetings just to kind of see what's out there. But yeah, it's not a regular part of my life anymore.
Okay. So one thing I want to get out there to people, and I try to reiterate this all the time, is that when you go to a meeting, it's not always going to be the group for you, but
Yes,
don't stop at that
right.
one, because eventually you'll find where you feel like you fit in. But I
Yes,
really think at the beginning of recovery that it's something that's very important to have that support.
it
Um,
is.
and so many people give up when they go to their first one and they just didn't feel comfortable, or whatever the reason was. Now you did drugs too. Did they cover that in AA? Because I know there's NA too.
And there's also CA
Oh, I
and
didn't know that. What,
yeah, Cocaine Anonymous.
cocaine and
Mhm.
really?
Oh yeah.
Never heard of that.
Yep.
Hmm.
Yep. That was a big part of my recovery.
Okay, I just thought that was in with the NA, but I've never heard of
No.
CA.
Yeah.
So I'll have to
And
see if
and
it's in
there's
our
also
area.
HA, Heroin Anonymous, MA, Marijuana
So
Anonymous.
they started, you know what? That's not a
Mhm.
bad idea,
It's a
because
great idea.
yeah, because I can see where people, if they were just a heroin addict, well, why do I need to go to AA? That's not my thing,
Right. Yep.
you know?
Yeah. Exactly.
But they
And you
all
know what?
kind of have that 12 step, right?
Right. Exactly. It's
Yeah.
all the same. It's all the same family. It's just they're all cousins, with
Well, I
AA
get that.
being
That's a
like the
good idea.
grandfather.
Okay, that's a fantastic idea. I'm glad you told me about that. I
Yeah.
really didn't
Yeah.
know. I thought there was NA and AA and that was it.
No, no, there are a bunch. And also, you were talking about don't give up after you go to that first meeting because it might not fit you well. The analogy that I use and that I would use with a lot of my clients is
Mhm.
kind of like if you needed a new dress for an event or a new suit for an event, would you just walk into the first store, walk up to the first rack, pick something out and say, oh God, I can't find anything? No, you shop
Of
around
course.
and you find
Okay.
the one that fits you best. So meetings are the same way. There are some very sick meetings out there, and there's some really healthy recovery-based meetings. So it's important to look around and find the one that fits you best.
Thank you. So I'm just going to tell you a little thing that I have seen throughout this whole thing. And
Yeah.
that is, I'm going to go all the way back to where you said, your mom and dad, or I think it was both of them, would say, what is going on? You're so intelligent. You are intelligent,
Thank you.
very
Yeah.
intelligent. And so I feel like when they were saying that, they knew, they knew.
Yeah. Yeah. They knew
You
a lot
might
of,
not have
yeah,
known, but they knew. They
they
just
knew.
didn't know about the ADD.
Right. Exactly.
And you know what else I have found in the people that I talk to with ADD, they all seem to be very highly intelligent,
Yes.
actually. And they just need to get that focus in there.
Exactly. Our brains are overactive.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And I wonder, because it's getting more and more and more, I wonder if it was always that way, or if it's,
We'll
the
never
way that
know.
we live now.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
don't
know,
know,
but
but sometimes, and I think sometimes it's overdiagnosed, and there are parents who don't know how to control their kids and they don't put good boundaries on their kids. So
Mhm.
they must have ADD. Let's just put them on medication. So I think sometimes it can be overdiagnosed, but we're getting better about that.
Yeah, I was going to say, so I actually fought hard for my son because he struggled so much with
Mhm.
it. And we had to go through, like, his teachers had to fill out a bunch of forms. I
Right.
had to fill out a questionnaire. And then the doctor went over all those
Mhm.
and then asked himself questions in order to diagnose the whole thing. So he
That's
didn't
the
have
way to do it.
ADHD, he just had the ADD, and I shouldn't say just, because that's a big deal.
Yeah.
So I didn't mean it that way.
Oh,
just
no,
meant
I
that he
get it
didn't-
because I'm the
yeah,
same way. Yeah.
yeah. But that is a lifetime struggle for him.
Yeah, sure. Me too.
And so I really like people to understand that they're really not alone. There's a lot of
Oh.
people, and I don't want people to look down on themselves because that's something they have, because there's nothing wrong
No,
with
you're
that.
not in control of it. You didn't cause
And you're
it.
not.
Yeah.
And some of it's genetic. I do know that.
Yep. Yep.
But not all of it. So I don't, that's all I know, is that some of it is genetic. I do not
Yes.
know where the rest of it comes from. And I'm not going to
Right.
say that I do.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah.
Yeah. But I do know that it can be genetic. So
Yep.
watched it run in the family. So
Oh, yeah. Yeah, my daughter's got it too now.
see, and I don't know, does she complain about it, or
Well, we have it medicated, so that really, really helps. And she's doing great in school and doing well socially, the whole thing. So yeah, she's doing great.
And how old is she?
16.
16.
Mhm.
Okay.
And
So
I
how
call her my
long?
little rock star.
Oh,
Yeah.
I bet she loves coming to Disney, huh?
Not anymore. She
No,
used to.
she'll
No,
get it
now it's
back.
like, oh, Dad, I'd rather go to Universal. Do you really need to go to Disney
Oh,
again?
because the Universal has
The
all
roller
rides.
coasters. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
why.
So she wants those, but she'll
But you
come
know
back
what?
around.
She'll go back.
Oh, she will. Around 20 is when
Yep.
she'll come back.
Yep.
Because she'll go to college and all her friends are like, oh my God, you live in Orlando. Can we go to Disney?
Yep.
And yeah, we'll all go to Disney together. But
Yep.
she'll come back.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, listen, it's been a real pleasure talking.
Yeah,
to
nice
you.
talking to you.
And thank you so much for all your information and
Very
for
welcome.
helping me with this rescheduling and all
Not
the
a
things.
problem.
Appreciate
And thank
it.
you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate you being on, and we'll keep in touch.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All
And it
right.
would be great if you could make it to a Steam Fest and all these people who've been listening to you all this time can come and actually meet you.
Well, I can tell you I'll be there.
Awesome.
I mean, unless something comes up that I can't, but
Right.
I already put it down in my calendar. So
Nice. Right
so
on.
just keep us in touch, and I'll keep
Yes.
trying to tell people where to go to get updates.
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect. Cool. Thank
All
you.
right.
All
Thank you
right.
so much.
Enjoy your day.
Thank you. You too.
All right. Bye.